Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. We teased it at the top of the hour, but here he is, Josh the Pitbull Torres, with some breaking news.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We got a phone call a couple days ago, and if all goes well, we'll be looking to fight Super Zab Judah.
Now, Zab Judah is a guy who's, obviously multi-time world champion, obviously one of the best in the early 2000s. What's it like? What do you feel going into this big of an opportunity?
You know, it feels surreal. It's like a dream come true. I mean, this is a guy I was watching when I was a little kid, fighting these huge names, winning these big titles. So to know that all the hard work that I've been putting in my career is starting to pay off, to get phone calls like this, it's awesome.
Yeah, and you obviously, you got a resume yourself. You got 15 wins. You were a former WBC, USNBC champion. So you built your way up here. Talk about how the process started. Did his promoters reach out to you? Or?
Yeah, they reached out to us. They were looking for, an opponent that he wants to make a comeback fight against. So on paper, I think I looked like the right, opponent for him. So I'm excited to go in there and who knows, maybe shock the world.
Yeah, now again, this fight's taking place, I think March 12th is what you guys are currently aiming at, is that correct?
As far as I know, March 12th, yes.
145 pounds, so, what do you expect there at that weight class? Typically, you're used to fighting around the 140, I guess the 145 pound range also.
That's correct. My last about 5 fights have been at 140. My most recent fight, we made the decision to move back up to welterweight. So when they called us, they offered us the fight at 140. We negotiated and met right in the middle at 145.
Yeah, this is the first time we've had you since, of course, we had you and your old opponent who you fought for that USNBC title, Randy Ganoy. So it's a pleasure to have you on and, talk about some of your history here a little bit. How did you get your start in boxing?
Well, I started boxing when I was about 14 years old. My buddy Vincent, Little Man Marable, who's a former professional boxer, he got me started in the game. He was watching me in school fighting all the time on the ditch banks, getting in trouble. So he said, hey, my dad has a boxing club. Why don't you come down? You're always fighting anyway. For the longest time, I blew him off. Yeah, I'll go one day. And, finally I showed up, and I was just one of those kids that found love with the sport and never left after that.
How has it changed your life?
I mean, night and day. I haven't been in a street fight since. So I guess it's, it's filled that void that I always was looking for. I don't know if it was, just being in the fight or maybe, that feeling of winning the fight that it filled for me. But it's been, a journey and, a blessing this whole way.
Now, with this announcement of you fighting Zab Judah, it's going to be the first time a lot of people hear your name, but you've been in there against some top prospects like Dusty Harrison Hernandez, and you also trained under Johnny Tapia for a long time. How long did you train with Johnny, and what was that journey like with him?
Yeah, I trained with Johnny for, I don't know, at least a year and a half, 2 years. It was awesome to know that a world champion like Johnny, who accomplished so many things in his boxing career, picked me out of a long list of fighters and wanted to train me and saw a lot of potential in me. So that's been what has been driving me this whole way through.
Yeah. What was he like on a daily basis? We all know him as that fun, just outgoing guy. What was he like there knowing him? You were essentially like one of his best friends. You were always around him.
Absolutely. He's one of a kind. That's how you can describe him. One day he was something, the next day he was something else, but it was always great. It was always energy, and he was always fun to be around.
Yeah, you were also featured on the biopic film, a very good biopic film by the name of Tapia that was done a couple of years ago. What was it like to be part of that, I guess that documentary that was essentially filmed on him?
Yeah, while it was going on, it didn't seem like much. We were just doing our normal training, our day-to-day things, and they were following us with cameras, and little did we know we'd end up on HBO, so it's pretty cool to know that my face was on HBO. I was able to make it to the big screen in the little time, in the little career that I've had so far, so it was cool.
What do you hope a victory over a guy like Zab Judah will do for you? Because you're still pretty young. How old are you? You're
26.
26?
Yes. I hope it opens a lot of doors. I hope not only for myself, but, for all the fighters in New Mexico. There's a lot of talent and, a lot of great fights to be made here, but I don't think we get that exposure yet. And I think, a huge win like this would open a lot of those doors, and, I'm just honored to be a part of it, and I hope I can make it happen.
I think the biggest stage that you've ever been on, it may have been that USNBC fight that you had here locally. You had over 2,000 people that showed up here down to the downtown arena that we have here, but also your fight against Dusty Harrison Hernandez that took place in New York at the Madison Square Garden Theater. What was that like to be in the Big Apple?
Oh man, that was so crazy. It was like I was dreaming the entire time. Didn't even feel like work, didn't feel like a fight. It was just, I was just very blessed to be there, and we fought our hearts out. We came out a little short, but it was definitely by far, the highlight of my career so far, even though we came up short.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to New Mexico fighters, you're amongst, I'd like to say, maybe the top 3, top 5 that come out of this area. So who are some of the boxers here locally that I guess you look up to and that inspire you to drive yourself?
Well, of course, Johnny Tapia, #1 world champion. Austin Trout, I mean, he's up there, former world champion, so it's awesome to see all of his hard work paying off. He's helped me out throughout my amateur career as well. Of course, hardworking Fidel Maldonado, he's on his way up too. Hopefully he'll get a title shot soon. Up and coming Brian Mendoza. I mean, these are all, huge bundles of talent that are just waiting to be exposed. And, I'm just honored to be among some of these names being mentioned today.
Yeah, now ever since, I guess, Johnny's passing, he was your primary manager and trainer. Who is it that you're training with here the most recently?
My trainer now is Daniel Perez. He's a former boxer out of here as well. He just got inducted to the New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame. So he's the original pit bull. And we started training about maybe close to a year ago. And, it's been a great journey so far. And we're just excited to see what the future has in store for us.
Yeah. For people, I guess, to get a little more of your background now, you're a barber here, pretty popular one. You also have a wife and a child. Talk about how all that plays a role into your daily, I guess, boxing life.
It's busy to say the least, but it's part of life. You have to work, you have to pay bills. So as far as right now, I still have to work. Like you said, I enjoy cutting hair. I have a good clientele. I feel like for my age, I've been pretty successful so far, but hopefully one day with big wins like these coming up, maybe one day I can box full time and go from there.
Again, it's going to be March 12th is what's being proposed right now. Again, Zab Judah in Las Vegas, Nevada. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they reach out?
Yeah, reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. Don't be shy to add me.
Yeah, again, March 12th, we'll let you guys know when it's all done, set, and clear. But in the meantime, a huge fight for you. So I guess congratulations on the opportunity. And we'd love to have you back before that fight takes place.
Hey, thanks, Jorge. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Stay tuned. We'll catch you guys after the break.